taste of freedom. Victorians embrace the easing of restrictions, visiting friends and family for the first time in months, and take a swing at their favourite pastimes. China's beef with Australia escalates, and it's our farmers who fear they'll be the ones who end up cooked. Surprise saving revealed how the end of the road for this year's Grand Prix saved Victorian taxpayers millions of dollars. A devastated father's search for answers 17 years after his son disappeared. Now, new hopes of a breakthrough. And our footy stars line up for coronavirus testing, but still no word from the AFL on when they'll actually take to the field.
This is 10 News First Melbourne with Jennifer Keyte.
Good evening. First, we've had our first taste of freedom in months, and Victorians have embraced it with gusto. After coronavirus lockdown laws were eased at midnight, activities like golf and fishing were back on the agenda. But it was families who welcomed the changes most, allowing them to get together again.
2 months is a long time to be separated from those you love.
Hi! Hi! Oh, Nana hasn't seen you for a long time.
Yeah.
And when you're only 2, a lot can change in 8 weeks.
His language has improved in the time that he's been away, and his motor skills have improved as well.
William Turville has spent lockdown waving to his grandparents through their window, but there's nothing quite like a warm hug.
It was lovely. I haven't seen him for such a long time, and I really missed him, and he missed his big cheeky smile.
When the clock struck midnight, Victoria relaxed some of its lockdown laws, which means golf can be played again. Former St Kilda star Nick Del Santo wasted no time.
Up! Anyone out there?
And when the sun came up, keen golfers followed his lead.
First shot, first hole, par 3 on this beautiful 10th here, and just disappeared in the hole.
We booked first tee off first thing, and a whole day.
This club has been bombarded with calls from eager golfers. Yesterday, it fielded more than 2,000 inquiries. To put that into context, it would normally answer 200 on a busy day.
It's a bit like anything, isn't it? If you can't have something and all of a sudden you can get it back again, you're actually more excited about doing it.
Fishing is allowed once again too, and they were down by the water before dawn.
I'm happy to be here. Beautiful weather. Relaxing.
Coming out of isolation, it could be snowing and I'll still come out here, I think.
Boot camps of up to 10 people are now allowed too.
Overnight we had about 40 new transactions, which for us is massive.
But the best thing is the freedom to see friends and family, the people we've missed the most. Candice Wyatt for
Candice Fresh.
And Candice Wyatt joins us live now. Candice, how long will the restrictions stay at this level?
Well, at least until the start of June, Jen, and that is of course contingent on our infection rate remaining around the same level. The Premier also wants another 150,000 voluntary tests done. Already more than 180,000 people have come forward, but he wants more because that's where you get an accurate representation of what's really happening in the community. Tonight we're on Chapel Street. Normally it's one of the busiest strips in Melbourne, buzzing with nightlife and restaurants. But of course now it's all closed down. Some other states are allowing cafes and restaurants to reopen with a maximum of 10 customers. But the Premier, Dan Andrews, says the advice he's had from the hospitality industry is that that's not really viable. So for now they'll remain on takeaway duties only, and perhaps in June they may be able to reopen with a limit of more than 10 customers, but of course remaining with that social distancing rule. So Jen, this is the way life is until at least June.
OK, thank you very much, Candice. Victorian major events and tourism have been given a serious boost thanks to a $150 million lifeline from the state government. The funding package is for industries hit hard by COVID-19 and came as some of our best-known sports stars lined up to be tested.
The underground car park at Marvel Stadium turned into a drive-through medical clinic.
It's weird, they had this big line thing and you put it up your nose, both nostrils and down your throat.
AFL players and staff turned up one by one for mandatory testing for COVID-19.
We're just keen to play, so whatever's going to get us back as soon as possible, we're prepared to do it.
Another 7 cases have been detected in Victoria, bringing the total to 1,514. 3 more cases have been linked to a Fawkner McDonald's, bringing the total there to 6, with another 92 employees still waiting on their results. And there was more bad news about Cedar Meats.
3 cases previously under investigation have now also been found to be linked to the abattoir outbreak.
Only 2 people have been fined for breaching coronavirus restrictions in the past 24 hours. That's the lowest number since these rules came into place. Victoria Police says it's because officers have been told to use more discretion, and also because supervisors now need to approve every fine before it's issued. The state government will help hard-hit industries with $40 million for community sport, another $16 million for national sport. Racing, namely harness racing, will receive $44 million, while there's $32 million for the arts and music sector and $11 million for tourism.
It means we can continue to pay our people. It means we can continue to plan for the reopening.
So when it's safe, they can switch on the lights and roll out the red carpet. Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
Trade tensions with China are set to escalate, with many Chinese angry over our lead role pushing for an inquiry into coronavirus. That's despite government claims new bans on Australian beef have nothing to do with it.
There's trouble in the cattle towns. A quarter of Australian beef exports go straight to China. Much of that trade is now blocked over what the Chinese claim publicly is a hygiene issue.
The economy would be devastated.
But the only dirt is in the politics.
Our farmers and exporters certainly haven't done anything wrong there.
The Trade Minister has been busily playing down any link between China's sudden concern with our beef hygiene and their far louder concerns at Australia's demand for a full international inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus pandemic.
Chinese officials say both privately and publicly that these are unconnected matters.
But China previously warned of retaliation. And its foreign ministry now accuses Australia of using the epidemic to damage international cooperation. Our grain industry, wine, seafood and others fear a full-on trade war.
This is really serious.
Australia is not backing down, nor is the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He's been on the phone to Foreign Minister Marise Payne, reinforcing the need for the rule of law, transparency and accountability. And adding a little Queensland fuel to the fire, the federal MP George Christensen. He's demanding China's ambassador to Australia front the Parliamentary Trade Committee that Christensen chairs to explain himself. The opposition says it's time people calm down.
It'd be pretty handy if we heard more from the Foreign Minister and less from people like George Christensen.
The government and the opposition agree on the need for an independent global inquiry, but weakening the Prime Minister's position is his refusal to release, under Freedom of Information laws, the briefings he received in January as the virus crisis was looming up out of nowhere.
By you're asking the Chinese government to be very open, yet the Prime Minister, or in fact PM and the C, are refusing to publicly release what happened here in Australia. Can you see the hypocrisy in that?
I see no hypocrisy with that whatsoever.
It is a gift to China at a time when all we want to send them is our exports. Hugh Riminton for 10 News First.
Victorian taxpayers have so far avoided paying out millions for the Grand Prix after the sudden cancellation of this year's race. The revelation came as the state's treasurer was grilled about big spending and budget black holes due to the pandemic.
2 months to the day since our first taste of pandemic pandemonium,
the Australian Formula One Grand Prix has been cancelled.
The major events minister revealed a big saving for Victorian taxpayers.
It's usually about $60 million a year. What have we ended up paying this year?
The Australian Grand Prix Corporation
was not required to pay the race promotion fee to Formula One.
And while the Grand Prix broke down today, the Treasury Secretary struggled to break down the spending specifics for $25 billion in emergency loans.
It's effectively like if you had your own credit card, it's sort of like increasing your credit card limit.
Future streams of revenue, in particular abolishing stamp duty in favour of land tax, also flagged with the Treasurer.
It's also a bit like a Mills and Boon novel, satisfying and uplifting to read, getting to that point without causing major trauma to the community is a very serious consideration.
Politicians are also flirting with changes to payroll tax. The government is waiving it for any business that uses JobKeeper, but the opposition wants it waived for any organisation which has a wages bill under $10 million. The tax costs this Sunshine West truck parts business $45,000 every year.
We're concerned that later on, late in the year, early next year, is when we will see the bigger effect.
A lot of Victorian businesses are on life support at the moment. They need a heart starter to get them back in the game.
But for now, the government may be preoccupied getting a reliable internet connection going.
We've lost the Treasurer Secretary.
We've lost the Treasurer.
Simon Love for 10 News First.
Well, the Prime Minister sounded almost upbeat today about COVID-19, but it's hard to see why. His Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, may have tested negative after coughing through a speech yesterday, but today he copped a barrage of questions about the JobKeeper payments.
After yesterday's bad news economic update, today the PM used question time to focus on the good news coming out of the COVID crisis, beyond the Treasurer not catching it.
I have confidence in this country and I believe this country will bounce back.
The government staying glass half full.
With the success that Australians have been able to achieve.
Times of adversity, Australians often shine.
The JobKeeper package, according to Ashley Malcolm, has helped save their business.
But the opposition was having none of it, zeroing in on problems with the package.
Can the Treasurer explain why a university student working a $100 shift per week receives the full $1,500 JobKeeper wage subsidy?
What?
But their full-time university tutor with 3 kids to support is not eligible?
The Treasurer might have preferred to self-isolate than have to try to answer that.
Can the Treasurer explain why an 18-year-old living at home who's been working a shift a week at a McDonald's franchise receives the full $1,500 JobKeeper wage subsidy?
No way!
But a full-time Australian worker at Donata providing catering services to Qantas with a mortgage to repay is not eligible.
That's even harder to explain. While the COVID crisis remains front and centre, there are signs lingering scandals from before it started are back on the agenda. Sports rorts reared its ugly head again, following suggestions the PM may have authorised parts of the program.
The only authority sought from the Prime Minister's office and from myself, Mr Speaker, was in relation to announcements.
The PM only offering marketing tips, leaving questions Scott Morrison would rather avoid.
It's good to see that the Canberra Press Gallery is back to politics as usual with Parliament coming back. Yeah, thank you. I've answered your question. I said no.
Peter Van Onselen for 10 News First.
Peter Van Onselen joins us now. Peter, the pandemic bipartisanship appears to have evaporated.
It certainly looks like that, doesn't it? I mean, you heard at the end of the story there, the sports rorts saga is back in headlights, and tomorrow, as I understand it, the opposition are going to go after the government in relation to the Angus Taylor saga, but it is in the space of JobKeeper where they really were putting the heat on the government today. They want to see changes to the package. They had some crazy examples of how it is inconsistently applied, and you can bet going forward that Labor, if they don't get a reaction from the government, if they don't see change to how the package is being put together, they will continue to attack it, not just tomorrow, but whenever it is that Parliament resumes, and until they see change, right up till the next election, I suspect.
OK, thanks, Peter. Another passenger from the coronavirus-plagued Ruby Princess cruise ship has succumbed to the virus. The 81-year-old woman died yesterday in New South Wales and is the 22nd person to die from the ship.
The issues around anybody passing away on the from the Ruby Princess are extremely sad. The truth of the matter is the cruise industry right around the world had massive issues.
It's the first COVID-19 death to be reported in Australia in a week. The national toll is now 98. Well, now here's Stephen with sport, and the culling, it has begun.
Afraid so, Jennifer. As AFL clubs are forced to slash their footy departments, some familiar names will depart. Also, Hub's back on the agenda. Could the Eagles spring a surprise? Back to the future for a motor racing legend. And baseball really is back in full swing with all the bells and whistles we're used to.
Thanks, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News First, the worst could be yet to come. Our Chief Medical Officer's worrying prediction about COVID-19 infections globally. And don't pick, a fresh warning about flourishing but deadly fungi.
It looks like a nice and easy mystery box.
There's nothing unusual.
But don't be fooled.
There will be a twist. There will be a twist.
You're joking.
No.
What the hell? The mystery box twist tonight on 10. Then the biggest twist of all.
Katy Perry! Let's go!
7:30 tomorrow.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points with every BP purchase. BP Rewards. Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
This Saturday with Sportsbet at 3 tracks for races 1 to 6. Finish second or third and get up to $50 back in bonus bets.
BSI! So BS responsibly with Sportsbet. We'll be watching.
Harvey Norman has everything you need for your home. Our spacious stores are open with great deals on big brand Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Huge savings on bedroom furniture, including beds, bedside tables and tall boys. Great bargains for the kids' bedrooms. Choose from space-saving bunks, beds, desks and more. Time to get cosy with amazing prices across a huge range of Manchester essentials. Mattresses, ensembles, bedroom furniture in Manchester. Everything you need for your home. Browse online and shop safely in store. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go! Head to Macca's if a little treat is what you need and grab 24 chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 or a large sundae for only $3. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. I finally found the right snack.
Where's the baby?
The police are looking for him.
You stole him.
Somebody who was very lonely because they couldn't have a baby. Do you want to say hello to your little boy?
He looks like me.
My baby could be anywhere. Do something about it.
The police have made the call to release this CCTV footage to the media.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
We don't want her to panic.
The secrets she keeps tonight after MasterChef.
Welcome back. A father has made a heartfelt plea for information about his son who went missing 17 years ago. Paul Wright's family says they'll never give up the search for answers to his mysterious disappearance.
Nick Wright says grieving someone who goes missing is a unique struggle.
You can't help it. You can't come to a point where you say, yeah, I'm okay with this, because you're not.
Paul Wright was last seen leaving his Rosanna home in 2003. He was 27 years old. Police have released a new image of what he would look like now, aged 43. He had a court case pending when he disappeared.
As I say, he was no angel, but he was not a bad person.
Paul worked in the security industry and was known to use the alias Brian Hunter. Police can't rule out foul play. They're appealing to the public for clues.
At this point in time, the file remains active, which is why we're conducting these investigations, even 17 years on. We never stop acting on behalf of the family to try and locate Paul and give them some pieces to knowing where he is.
Police say there's no new clue or sighting that's prompted this latest plea. Rather, it's about showing that investigators and Paul's family are never going to give up on finding out what happened to him. If Paul is alive and has a new life, they still want to know if he's all right.
All I would like to know is I'm okay. That's it.
Emma O'Sullivan for 10 News First.
2 young men are tonight behind bars charged with murder after a fatal shooting at Endeavour Hills. Jade Keyte was in court.
24 hours after a man was shot dead in the passenger seat of a car at Endeavour Hills, Homicide Squad detectives charged 2 people with murder. 22-year-old Blake Wynne was arrested on Monday night after residents heard a gunshot and called 000. His co-accused, 19-year-old Jordan Fiscalini, was arrested yesterday morning. Both appeared in a brief hearing at the Melbourne Magistrates Court today. Wynne was supported by his mother. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No comment.
Fiscalini also had supporters as he appeared in the dock with cuts and bruises to his face. The court heard Fiscalini had an intellectual disability, suffered PTSD, but was not on medication. Details of the victim have not been released. Neither Wynne nor Fiscalini applied for bail. Both were remanded in custody and will return to court later this year.
Jade Keyte reporting. Well, let's take a look at the traffic now with Jess Miller in the chopper.
Thanks, Jen. Over the ring road in the Lexus of Brighton traffic chopper earlier this afternoon, we had crazy delays through here due to a collision which was blocking off one at Greensboro-bound lane. Traffic was basically at a standstill from back at the Tulla. Fortunately, though, those delays have disappeared. But you can see here on the Sydney Road exit, there is just the one lane closed off for some works. That's Altona-bound and speeds are set to 40. Also, those Toorak Road Kooyong works are still happening. Over to you, Jen.
Thank you, Jess. 8 people, including a child, have fallen seriously ill this month after picking and eating poisonous wild mushrooms. Recent wet weather has created the perfect conditions for the toxic death cap, prompting fresh warnings from health officials.
Eat one of these and in 48 hours you could be dead. They're the world's most lethal mushroom and they're now sprouting around the state.
These mushrooms are very deceptive. They look like the mushrooms that you can buy in the store.
Over the past fortnight, at least 8 Victorians, including a child, have wound up in hospital after eating death cap mushrooms.
5 of whom have required intensive care treatment.
A person in their 70s didn't survive. Experts say every part of the death cap is toxic. Peeling, cooking or drying won't deactivate the poison. And worst still, there's no antidote.
It has white gills underneath, and initially it's covered by a membrane like being in an egg, and it leaves this cup shape at the base of the stem.
Another one that'll make you sick, the yellow stainer.
Distinctive characteristics around it, particularly the fact that when you scratch it, you get a yellow stain around the edge of the cap.
The wettest start to the year on record has created ideal growing conditions.
Humans aren't the only ones affected by the toxic fungus. Animals, particularly pet dogs, can be curious and tempted to go in for a taste.
More mushrooms means more inquiries at the Victorian Poisons Information Centre, where calls have doubled this year. Christina Costalis for 10 News First.
And ahead in 10 News First, the US gets a stern warning from its top virus expert. End lockdowns too soon and there will be uncontrollable outbreaks. And Miracle Maria, the Spanish great-grandmother, is 113 years old and survived coronavirus.
And your official forecast with Ron shortly.
While we're all parked for a while, Lexus isn't. We're still anticipating your needs. So if your Lexus needs a service, we'll pick it up, deliver you a loan car, and return yours thoroughly cleaned inside and out.
It looks like a nice and easy mystery box.
There's nothing unusual.
But don't be fooled.
There will be a twist. There will be a twist.
You're joking.
No.
What the hell?
The Mystery Box Twist on 10.
It continues 7:30 tonight.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting money, give it right back. 'Cause I'm not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it, clap, clap. Alright, so clap it back. Hey, hey.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
There's more than one way to date, and with eHarmony's new Video Date, you can get to know that special someone wherever and whenever you like. eHarmony has thousands of singles waiting to meet you. So unlock dating with Video Date, the brand new feature from eHarmony.
We are Regional Australia.
We are winemakers.
We are coffee roasters.
Fashion designers.
Potters. Bakers. Shopkeepers. We're asking for your support because the wine is pouring.
The kiln is firing. And we're open for business.
Because where you shop matters. Discover how Visa's network connects regional businesses to customers across Australia and the world.
The espresso capsule from Law, the aluminium capsule designed to fit your Nespresso machine. Discover Law capsules and be captivated by a gold standard espresso.
To help you get the most from the post, we've chartered 8 extra freighter flights to help deliver the more than 2 million parcels we're processing every day. For more, visit Ozpost online, and on behalf of everyone at Australia Post, thank you for your patience.
Look after your health online at health365.com.au with over 700 of your favourite Australian-owned health, vitamin and skincare products online, home delivered fast. Buy smart, buy Australian. Online at health365.com.au.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
Go on.
At Devondale, we believe great milk comes from cows that graze free.
Someone has taken my baby.
The police have made the call to release this CCTV footage.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
We don't want her to panic.
The secret she keeps on 10 continues tonight after MasterChef.
You're watching 10 News First. America's top doctor has once again contradicted President Donald Trump, telling a Senate hearing the US coronavirus outbreak is not under control. Anthony Fauci warned of serious consequences from ending lockdowns too soon.
A warning from America's top infectious disease doctor: don't reopen too soon.
I feel if that occurs, there is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak that you may not be able to control.
Dr. Anthony Fauci under quarantine himself, contradicting President Donald Trump's claim that the worst has passed.
We have met the moment, and we have prevailed.
It was an unusual Senate hearing, dogs and all, though the Republicans were doing all the hounding.
And as much as I respect you, Dr. Fauci, I don't think you're the end all. I don't think you're the one person that gets to make a decision.
Fauci bit back.
I'm a scientist, a physician, and a public health official. I give advice according to the best scientific evidence. We don't know everything about this virus, and we really better be very careful.
And this is what the evidence says. New hotspots are sprouting up. In Tennessee and Kansas, some counties have recorded a 1,000% spike in a week, while LA is listening, extending its lockdown for 3 more months. New York City may never be the same again too. Today, executives at three of the largest commercial tenants, JP Morgan Chase, Barclays and Morgan Stanley, all indicated that it's highly unlikely any of their workers will ever return to their Manhattan offices. Why pay rent when working from home works? Great for companies, terrible for restaurants and bars that'll depend on the after-work trade to have a future. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
Hollywood A-listers like Madonna, Lady Gaga and Elton John may have had their private information leaked after hackers targeted a top US law firm. Cyber attackers claim they've stolen nearly 800 gigabytes of confidential data from Grubman, Shire, Meisler and Sachs, a New York firm that works with dozens of celebrities. Two screenshots supposedly linked to the attack show a Madonna contract and folders named after high-profile clients. A great-grandmother, believed to be Spain's oldest woman, has taken on COVID-19 and won. Maria Brañas is 113 years old and was diagnosed with coronavirus in March. Fortunately, she only suffered mild symptoms, and after weeks in isolations, she's now made a full recovery. Born in 1907, Maria has also lived through the 1918 Spanish flu and both World Wars. Well, now here's Mike Larkin, and tonight he has us hook, line and sinker.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Finally, we can all go fishing. The bait is over, and already I'm hooked. Okay, Salmon had to say that. I could do better, but I'm not that sophisticated. Soggy this morning, which wasn't fantastic. Sunny this afternoon. Okay, let's scale back. Oh, one-armed fisherman up the pier there. Got a fish this big. 10 to 15 degrees in Melbourne, up to 10 millimetres of rain falling locally. That was on Phillip Island, and most of that overnight. Okay, that's the reel in, the midweek weather fact. And weather forecasting for the general public began in England when the forecast was printed daily in a newspaper, and that was back in 1860. And of course, then it's been added to radio and TV. And we'll have more from Morley Alex soon. Hey, drop me a line. Jen.
Thank you, Mike. Well, still to come, we'll update you on all today's top stories. And island isolation ends for hundreds of Aussies who've been in quarantine on Rottnest Island. We'll cross live.
It looks like a nice and easy mystery box.
There's nothing unusual.
But don't be fooled.
There will be a twist. There will be a twist.
Joking.
No.
What the hell?
The Mystery Box Twist tonight on 10.
Thank you, Victoria.
For keeping your distance and for keeping your cool.
For facing this with courage.
And talking face to face every day.
For telling your workmates you're on mute.
And your neighbours, you're there for them.
Thanks for staying in and helping out. Because it's working.
But we can't stop now. There's still a way to go.
And staying apart keeps us together.
To help keep us together, visit vic.gov.au/coronavirus. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy their choice of delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of their own home. Especially those at a greater health risk during these times. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having Light and Easy meals delivered safely with our contactless delivery service, visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
To help you get the most from the post, we've chartered 8 extra freighter flights to help deliver the more than 2 million parcels we're processing every day. For more, visit Ozpost online, and on behalf of everyone at Australia Post, thank you for your patience.
Every 14 minutes, someone finds love on eHarmony. Now with more matches, a new compatibility quiz with deeper insights and enhanced messaging, the new eHarmony experience is better than ever. Start something real with someone right.
If you're a small business, you've probably got a lot of questions right now, which is why you should speak to a professional accountant who's trained in planning and cash flow management strategies. For further support, contact a professional accountant today.
Does your energy provider chip in for your internet? Dodo does. Yep, we're an energy company and an internet company, which is why you get unlimited data on our NBN 50 plan for just $60 a month when you also get electricity and gas. Switch at dodo.com.
I want you on my side. Be greedy, be hungry.
He's not capable of alliance.
I am a monster.
The brand new season of Billions, now streaming only on Stan.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. I finally found the right snack.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
Australians of all ages are choosing Light and Easy. Light and Easy can even assist those on aged care home care packages. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having healthy meals delivered, call us on 13 15 12.
With border restrictions across the world, we know at the moment there's no such thing as a tourism hotspot. But new data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics shows just how enormous the drop-off in overseas arrivals has been. This April, a whopping 99% decrease. Only 22,000 people arrived. More than two-thirds of them were Aussies returning home, while just under 7,000 were non-citizens. And as we know, tourism, well, it is big bucks. Last year, we had 9.5 million international visitors come to Australia and they spent more than $45 billion. So for now, that has pretty much vanished. Now, some interesting data out from Australia's biggest home lender, Commonwealth Bank, today. It's warning of a potential 32% house price crash by the end of 2022. It should be noted, however, that that is the bank's worst case scenario, and it is based on unemployment remaining high for the next few years and there being a deep recession. Speaking of CBA, it finished the day up despite setting aside $1.5 billion due to the impact of COVID-19. It's also sold a majority stake in Colonial First State. The ASX, it fell sharply at the open. It was pulled down by a number of factors, tensions with China and also a poor performance in the US overnight. It did rally, however, and at the close it finished up 0.3%. Right now the Australian dollar is buying 64.8 US cents.
Charlotte Goodlett reporting. Well, hundreds of tourists and returning travellers have been released from 14 days quarantine on a WA island. Natalie Forrest joins us live now from Fremantle. Nat, some are still facing an uncertain wait to return home.
Yeah, that's right, Jen. It was quite the ordeal just to get the flight from South Africa last month, but now they're facing the ordeal of how to get from Western Australia back to their home states with very limited flights available. Now, the passengers were ferried here to Fremantle this morning after spending 2 weeks isolated in chalets on Rottnest Island, which is really not a hard way to do your quarantine. They were given their first taste of freedom today before about 130 of the passengers were bundled onto buses and sent to city hotels where they will have to stay until flights can be arranged to get them back to their individual cities. But most of them that we spoke to this morning were really just grateful to be one step closer to their loved ones.
I just want to get home, and I think that's when I'll actually, then I'll feel much better being at home.
This is the perfect birthday present for her, yeah.
Let out, set free on my birthday.
Yeah.
I think 14 days is just long enough.
I got a 4-year-old boy, I missed his birthday, so that sucks. So I have to do something for him when when I get back home.
Now, the repatriation effort has been incredibly costly and continues to be. WA taxpayers will continue to pay for the accommodation for these passengers while they wait in their hotels, while the WA government has also paid for a travel agent to help them find those flights. But their ordeal is far from over. They are very likely to have to serve another isolation period in their home states. Jen?
OK, thanks very much, Nat. Australia's Chief Medical Officer has delivered a sobering warning. The world hasn't seen the worst of COVID-19 as yet. He says it highlights the need for Australians to remain vigilant or risk another lockdown.
We have a roadmap out,
That's the plan for taking us forward.
but it's by no means an easy escape.
Nobody in the world knows the road out of this. That's why we're very closely watching what happens as restrictions are released.
The Chief Medical Officer today questioned about the very real threat of losing the big gains we've made.
Is there a trigger for which restrictions will come back in?
There is no one trigger. Well, total case numbers is not necessarily a trigger. It's the capacity to control the outbreaks that's the defining thing that we're watching.
Also being watched closely is the Kawasaki illness. The PM has ordered an urgent investigation into the mysterious COVID-19 linked virus, which only affects children.
Because it's so rare, it's unlikely to be seen in Australia, but we've got alerts on it and we're clearly watching it.
Professor Murphy telling a Senate committee that globally the worst of coronavirus is still ahead of us, which is why international travel won't be allowed anytime soon.
We're in a good position, but only, as I said to Senator Di Natale, we'll be able to maintain that by keeping strong border measures.
And as leading health experts suggest, financial distress and isolation could lead to more deaths than the virus itself, the government has appointed its first Deputy Chief Medical Officer for Mental Health to lead a new pandemic plan.
To help save lives and protect lives during what is a difficult period.
Not just now, but in the months and years ahead. Amber Austin-Wright for 10 News First.
Well, let's take another look at our roads with Jess Miller in the Traffic Chopper.
Thank you, Jen. Over the city in the Lexus of Brighton Traffic Chopper, where we've spotted some flashing red and blues. It turns out there's been a serious incident here involving a tram on Latrobe Street, just near Melbourne Central. Police and fireys are at the scene, and also some emergency service vehicles on William Street. And we've also just had word of a motorbike incident in Mulgrave. That's on Jacksons Road, just near the Monash Freeway. So just a reminder to drive with extra care. Over to you, Jen.
Thank you, Jess. Well, now here's Stephen with Wednesday Sport, and the Eagles, they're thinking about a change of scenery.
They are, Jen. It could be a case of coast to coast for the WA team as Adam Simpson's men contemplate a temporary new home. The culling of footy departments begin. An Aussie motor racing star set to revisit Bathurst. And they may be old-timers, but are we set for a rematch between the Real Deal and Iron Mike?
While we're all parked for a while, Lexus isn't. We're still anticipating your needs. So if your Lexus needs a service, we'll pick it up, deliver you a loan car, and return yours thoroughly cleaned inside and out.
If you're missing hugs, we've got the next best thing, 6:30.
Someone has taken my baby.
The police have made the call to release this CCTV footage.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
We don't want her to panic.
The secret she keeps tonight.
Let's do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
Hi, I'm Tammy Barton. I started my budget to help people do better with their money, just like Alyssa and Pete.
Before we joined my budget, we lived in a constant state of anxiety and stress, and it was debilitating.
Every time the phone rang, it was just like, what now?
Now we have financial freedom. We've paid off all of our debt, and we can take that money and invest it in our financial security for the future. And honestly, we have my budget to thank for that.
Join the 110,000 Australians who are now doing better with their money and live your life free from money worries. Call My Budget today to book your free consultation.
The Australian Government is supporting individuals and households during the coronavirus crisis. We've introduced the $550 coronavirus supplement, doubling income support for many. It means those on the job seeker payment could receive up to $1,100 a fortnight. We're also providing two $750 payments to veterans, pensioners and other households receiving income support. These automatic payments will support up to 5 million Australian households. To find out more, visit australia.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Domino's $5 pizzas are incredible value. They're made with fresh dough and vine-ripened tomato sauce, topped with stretchy and tastier mozzarella, and served with total peace of mind, thanks to zero contact pickup from Domino's.
Feel safe with the range of screen doors from Doors Plus. Decorative styles, security screens and Guardian 2-in-1. An entry and screen door. Supply, delivered and installed. Visit a showroom to see the screen door range today. Doors Plus.
No fuss.
A healthy microbiome is a diverse microbiome. So LifeSpace Daily Probiotics contain up to 15 strains of beneficial bacteria to support yours through every stage of life. We can all be living innovation.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. I finally found the right snack.
At Yui, we're all about how you use or don't use your car. So we're giving our clients and new clients temporary relief on their car insurance premiums if they're using their cars less right now. Go to yui.com.au. Yui, you insured.
This Saturday with Sportsbet at 3 tracks for races 1 to 6. Finish second or third and get up to $50 back in bonus bets.
BSI. So BS responsibly with Sportsbet. We'll be watching.
It's the Mystery Box with a twist.
No. What the hell?
Tonight on 10.
Good evening. AFL clubs have begun testing for the coronavirus at Marvel Stadium ahead of next week's anticipated return to training. While the teams from the West may spring a big surprise and relocate. Rob Waters joins us. Rob, the Eagles and Dockers are planning to base themselves interstate, and it's not where you'd think.
That's right, Stephen. Hello to you. Yes, they're not thinking about Victoria. They're eyeing off the Gold Coast to set up temporary training bases, and that would be not only to train but also to host matches. Now, the thinking is the weather's good, so are the facilities, and also it lessens the disadvantage of having to come over here to Victoria and play against Victorian teams. Now, this all depends on the policies of the WA government, but at the moment it sounds like their borders are going to stay shut. The South Australian government also weighed in today again, and they described the AFL's fly-in, fly-out policy as high risk. So clearly there's some work for the league to do in South Australia as well. All this as the AFL clubs, their players and staff began that stringent testing regime as part of the first move to getting back to training, hopefully as soon as next week. They went to Marvel Stadium club by club. Richmond and Essendon's players and staff were the first to get tested this morning.
I'm a little bit sensitive at the moment. A few tears came down. It was, oh look, it's all a positive. We're just keen to play. So whatever's going to get us back as soon as possible, we're prepared to do.
And some of them found it uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was weird. They had this big line thing, and you put it up your nose, both nostrils, and down your throat.
Very excited. Yeah, it's good to be back at the club, even though it's only for 10 minutes to get tested. But hopefully everything goes to plan, and the boys are back out there soon.
The players are willing to accept stricter quarantine guidelines to get the competition started once more.
Oh, clearly that is the case if we want to get footy back, which I think is great for the community.
In another test for the AFL, the South Australian Premier says his health advice is to not allow clubs to fly in and out of his state.
The reality is, I don't think that we're going to be having interstate football teams coming to South Australia, certainly for the first part of this season. The infection rates in other states mean that this is a risk.
For us, it is a relatively high risk. What we will need from the AFL is details about when they're intending to start their matches, what their fixtures look like and the like.
West Coast is seriously contemplating setting up a base on the Gold Coast if, as expected, they have to move interstate until the borders reopen. They would train and host games under this scenario, neutralising the disadvantage of playing games against Victorian teams in Victoria. The Dockers are also considering a move to Queensland, with the warmer weather also an attraction. Rob Waters for 10 News First.
The culling of football departments across the league has started as clubs reboot with skeleton staff. A host of assistant and development coaches at all 18 clubs have been let go, the leader of their association describing the situation as devastating.
As the lockdowns are relaxed, the coach culling is hitting home. After wrestling with the prospect for weeks, football departments across the league have been gutted from around 50 to just 25.
You know, in a quiet moment, I'm sure the coaches are thinking some outbreak in the Northern Hemisphere has now really hit home because the show's going on with a smaller head count, and it's devastating, and we all feel dreadfully for the coaches that are looking for a job.
State league programs and development arms will be hit the hardest. Coaches' boxes across the league set to shrink as footy starts a skeleton life with no frills.
Hopeful and expecting that next year's headcount is different, but I've got no real line of sight on it beyond anyone else.
The majority of redundant coaches were former players just making their way. What appeared to be a smooth road into life after footy, taking an abrupt and unexpected turn.
The circumstance they find themselves in is that there's likely to be a glut of coaches and lots of other people, very good people, are looking for a job as well.
Footy's flu jab debate is getting messy. The league and star players are reluctant to say it's no jab, no play.
I think it's reasonable that everyone has their right to do or do not.
But the Queensland government has made it non-negotiable for every NRL player in the state, and the Suns have heard the message.
All of our players so far have had their flu shot. I think there might be a couple still to go. Some players that were in Victoria that have returned here missed that initial time frame, but that should be done by the end of today.
Nick Butler for 10 News First.
So we are getting closer to an AFL return. According to Eagles coach Adam Simpson, that means some tough times ahead for all players.
The hard work's been done, but there's plenty of heartache to come.
The stresses of the game aren't there at the moment. The stresses on the body aren't there at the moment, but it'll hit them like a ton of bricks in the next month.
The coach confident all boxes have been ticked, but faith in his charges doesn't guarantee success.
What are they going to be like in terms of match fitness? Because I think there's just been fit, and with the restrictions in place, it's going to be difficult to really get physical contact, change of direction, speed, all those things that, you know, the reason why we love our game. Injury prevention's a big one. If it's a short time frame for pre-season and, you know, the window's not a big one, trying to get our players match fit is impossible. Try and get them ready and capable to back up game after game, that's going to be the challenge.
Simpson calm in a period of uncertainty.
It's more excitement than worry.
Less manpower, talk of hubs and the normal challenges of fighting for the flag from way out west, all part of this coach's challenge.
Premierships are hard to win no matter what, so I dare say this year will be just as hard as any.
Lockie Reid for 10 News First.
Melbourne Storm star Josh Adokar plans to fight his fines for that infamous camping trip with Latrell Mitchell. The Origin winger copped a $1,000 penalty from New South Wales Police for camping in a large group on Mitchell's Taree property. He was also fined $50,000 and given a suspended one-match ban by the NRL. Adokar's lawyer will apparently claim he did not break social distancing rules because he was on private property and had extenuating circumstances. Motor racing legend Mick Doohan says Space Invaders is the only computer game he has ever played, but competitive instincts will kick in when he takes on Bathurst and a host of celebrities in a Supercars E-Series challenge next Monday. The five-time world motorcycle champion will line up against the likes of Toby Price and Jack Revolt. Doohan won the 1988 Australian Grand Prix at Bathurst before it was moved to Phillip Island.
I had a lot of fun there. You know, when you were young, you didn't really sort of understand the consequences of hitting the wall around the place like that. So, you know, in a car today, even on a computer screen, it seems quite dangerous.
Mick has been receiving tips from his son Jack, who has already had a turn in the Supercars E-Series. Meanwhile, tonight's virtual action on 10 Play features F1 ace Lando Norris, Craig Lowndes, Will Power and Garth Tander as guest drivers. Heavyweight boxer Evander Holyfield is out to prove he is still the real deal. Momentum is building towards a rematch between the former world champ and Mike Tyson. If their training videos are anything to go by, Holyfield might just need to pick up the pace before stepping in the ring again with Iron Mike. Still, at 57, it's clear Holyfield still packs a punch, although he may need to buy himself some ear guards. Here's everything we've been missing about sport. Team mascots, fans and players turning stadiums into dance floors. First pitches failing terribly, not even coming close to the mark. And of course, the crowd catch.
Well hit by Su Zijie, and this one's gone.
So for giving us a brief taste of everything we want back in our lives, all involved in baseball in Taiwan, can share our play of the day. Nice way to finish.
We miss it, don't we?
Not far away.
Stephen, not far away. Coming up, Mike's back with the weather, and we'll find out if he managed to catch anything other than a cold.
Calls for the flawed JobKeeper subsidy to be cut short. Next.
It looks like a nice and easy mystery box.
There's nothing unusual.
But don't be fooled.
There will be a twist. There will be a twist.
You're joking.
No.
What the hell?
The mystery box twist tonight on 10. Then the biggest twist of all.
Katy Perry! Let's go!
7:30 tomorrow.
We're powered by a leader in renewable energy, the mighty Snowy Hydro. Now that's real Aussie energy. Red Energy, 100% Australian electricity and gas.
Some people have more important things to do than watch racing on a weekend. Some people. Catch every race this autumn with Sky Live Vision. Tab, long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
Even though we need to stay inside, we can still keep moving. Even when you're not outside, you can still move like you are. Because even when spaces are limited, you can still move without limits.
A lot of us are spending more time at home.
Ow.
Using a lot more electricity and internet. Unfortunately, iSelect can't help with your naked partner walking past your big presentation. But we could help shrink those household bills. Now's the time to compare, select and save with iSelect on 13 19 20.
There's nothing like a cold glass of Milo. You stir it all the way down and leave a little party on top. Yep, it's the Milo crunch you can't resist. Ah, love it.
Wow, this really is an MS Dream Home Lottery. Wait, how many come in the grand prize?
Token.
And that explains the 2 can in the kitchen. Get your tickets today.
If you have sensitive skin, try Cetaphil from Chemist Warehouse. It gently cleanses, hydrates and protects, and it's free from soap and fragrances. Cetaphil Gentle Skin Cleanser 1 litre is $14.99. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
You know, I found a dead body yesterday. Damn, these white girls love trouble.
No mercy for an honest man.
Just a Jane Doe out of the bay in Provincetown. Gunshot.
No angels have I.
These are bad people. Stay away from my case.
I could have saved this girl.
There's only one person you need to save. Watch out. Tide's coming in.
The brand new series, Hightown. Now streaming only on Stan.
Welcome back. And while we still can't visit our zoos at the moment, rangers at Werribee Open Range Zoo have decided to treat us to a virtual safari tour. And as you can see, in forced isolation, we can be forgiven for letting grooming standards slip. Well, now it's over to our favourite fisherman. It's Mike with the 7-day forecast.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Not even a bite, so I've thrown away the rod and have a look at the boats bobbing over my shoulder. It is beautiful down here at Mordialloc, although a tad on the cool side. A bit of rain falling across Victoria. The best rain's around Melbourne today, 4 millimetres at Coldstream, in the city 2.2, but overnight up to 10 millimetres of rain falling just over there on Phillip Island. Okay, some great photos now that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. And oh yeah, look at Luna working hard, the perfect pet in Paran for Ryan and Lockie. He's about to take a break and enjoy a latte rather than a Dogacino. And following a Dog's Day afternoon, Archibald and Ziggy enjoying a little relaxation in the park at sunset. Thanks to Ebony for that photo. So 10 degrees was the overnight low in Melbourne, 15 degrees the best on offer. Outside right now, 13, feels closer to 9 degrees. The wind is south-southeasterly blowing at some 17 kilometres per hour. Around Melbourne today, temperatures below the norm for this time of year, including Mount Dandenong, just single figures, 7 to 9 degrees. Across our state, well, it was good to see a bit of rain overnight. Up to 15 millimetres of rain falling at Portland and then 11 mils at Warrnambool, both in the southwest. Today, up to 9 millimetres of rain in the Alps. Temperatures generally between 12 and 16 this afternoon. 17 today's max in Swan Hill, Mildura and Mallacoota. Midweek around Australia, Adelaide 15 degrees like us. Hobart 13 degrees only and soggy. Up in Brisbane 24, lovely. Sydney 19. And in Canberra, where as a small boy a man had to share his bed with 5 brothers, sleeping in an old raincoat. In fact, the top of the raincoat instead of a blanket. Yep, says it was pretty tough growing up in the hood. 15 degrees. The weather charts, the cold front that has been crossing Victoria will clear out to sea, replaced by a huge high for cold, frosty nights, but lovely sunny days ahead. In fact, tomorrow night could be our coldest night of the year. The rainfall chart, well, nothing for us really, but an isolated shower in the far east tonight, perhaps the southwest tomorrow. Interstate tomorrow, Adelaide and Hobart both 16 and partly cloudy. Up in Brisbane again the mid-20s. In fact, for the rest of the week, Sydney tomorrow 18 degrees with up to 15 millimetres of rain. Across our state, and the day will begin chilly and frosty and foggy, particularly in central districts in the northeast. The odd spot of rain possible in the southwest, remaining sunny across the north, and it will be chilly out on the land, especially in the morning with the southwesterly. 1 to 12 degrees in Ballarat, Bendigo 2 to 15, Shep 3 to 16, Colac 4 to 13. A severe frost warning in the northeast. The radar, and it shows just the odd spot of rain in the northeast of our state. Around Melbourne, well, partly cloudy but dry for your Thursday. Frankston 8 to 15 degrees, Geelong 5 to 15, in the Yarra Valley just 3 to 15, and at Mount D tomorrow 5 to 10 degrees. On the bays, light and variable winds to 10 knots, waves about half a metre, your sun rising at 12 past 7. So for Melbourne, where their local politicians have major internet problems, don't they? But we can now play golf and we can fish. 7 to 15 degrees and dry for your outdoor activities tomorrow. Areas of morning fog and the wind will be light. On to Friday, well, it could be our coldest morning of the year, just 5 to 15. Frost in the northeastern suburbs, then lovely and sunny. Saturday, sunny, 17 degrees. Some fogs in the southeastern suburbs, 7 to 17. Sunday now, mainly sunny. The rain clouds clearing for a dry weekend, yes sirree. And then Monday, 17 degrees. Tuesday, 18 degrees. Wednesday, 19 degrees. But tomorrow in Melbourne, dry, 7 to 15 degrees.
Tonight's top stories: a taste of freedom. Eased restrictions allow us to catch up with friends and family and get back to our favourite pastimes. High stakes as China's beef with Australia escalates. Our farmers fear they'll end up being skewered. And the brave dad who's never given up hope of finding his missing son, even after 17 years. Well, we Victorians have had our first taste of freedom in months after lockdown laws were eased overnight. Golf, fishing and some socialising are now allowed. Candice Wyatt has been following the story. Candice, how have people responded?
Well, they wasted no time, Jen. As you're about to see, some were up and at 'em at the stroke of midnight. Others crawled out around dawn, while some of us managed to wait at least until the sun came up. But yes, golfing, fishing, some outdoor boot camps and even small social gatherings at home are all allowed again once more. We can't go too crazy though, because if that infection rate spikes, we do risk returning to those strict lockdown laws. But for now, some of the freedoms we enjoy most have returned, but of course none are better than the chance to see friends and family again.
2 months is a long time to be separated from those you love.
Hi! Hi! Oh, Nana hasn't seen you for a long time.
And when you're only 2, a lot can change in 8 weeks.
His language has improved in the time that he's been away, and he's
Motor schools have improved as well.
William Turville has spent lockdown waving to his grandparents through their window, but there's nothing quite like a warm hug.
It was lovely. I haven't seen him for such a long time and I really missed him, and he missed his big cheeky smile.
When the clock struck midnight, former St Kilda star Nick Del Santo wasted no time.
Up! Anyone out there?
And when the sun came up, keen golfers followed his lead.
This club has been bombarded with calls from eager golfers. Yesterday, it fielded more than 2,000 inquiries. To put that into context, it would normally answer 200 on a busy day.
It's a bit like anything, isn't it? If you can't have something and all of a sudden you can get it back again, you're actually more excited about doing it.
Fishing is allowed once again too.
Coming out of isolation, it could be snowing and I still come out here, I think.
But the best thing is the freedom to see friends and family, the people we've missed the most. Candice Wyatt for
Candice Fresh.
Nicely done. Well, Victorian major events and tourism have been given a boost thanks to a $150 million lifeline from the state government. The funding package is for industries hit hard by COVID-19 and comes as our footballers continue to do all they can to be ready when the season kicks off again.
The underground car park at Marvel Stadium turned into a drive-through medical clinic.
It was weird, they had this big...
We're just keen to play, so whatever's going to get us back as soon as possible, we're prepared to do, and it's a small price to pay to get the game back up and running.
Another 7 cases have been detected in Victoria, bringing the total to 1,514. 3 more cases have been linked to a Fawkner McDonald's, bringing the total there to 6, with another 92 employees still waiting on their results. And there was more bad news about Cedar Meats.
3 cases previously under investigation have now also been found to be linked to the abattoir outbreak.
Only 2 people have been fined for breaching coronavirus restrictions in the past 24 hours. That's the lowest number since these rules came into place. Victoria Police says it's because officers have been told to use more discretion, and also because supervisors now need to approve every fine before it's issued. The state government will help hard-hit industries.
It means we can continue to pay our people. It means we can continue to plan for the reopening.
So when it's safe, they can switch on the lights and roll out the red carpet. Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
Trade tensions with China are running high. They're upset over our push for an international inquiry into coronavirus. But the Morrison government's denying new bans on Australian beef are related to it.
There's trouble in the cattle towns. A quarter of Australian beef exports go straight to China. Much of that trade is now blocked over what the Chinese claim publicly is a hygiene issue.
The economy would be devastated.
But the only dirt is in the politics.
Our farmers and exporters certainly haven't done anything wrong there.
The Trade Minister has been busily playing down any link between China's sudden concern with our beef hygiene and their far louder concerns at Australia's demand for a full international inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus pandemic.
Chinese officials say both privately and publicly that these are unconnected matters.
But China previously warned of retaliation. And its foreign ministry now accuses Australia of using the epidemic to damage international cooperation. Our grain industry, wine, seafood and others fear a full-on trade war.
This is really serious.
Australia is not backing down, nor is the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He's been on the phone to Foreign Minister Marise Payne, reinforcing the need for the rule of law, transparency and accountability. The government and the opposition agree on the need for an independent global inquiry, but weakening the Prime Minister's position is his refusal to release, under freedom of information laws, the briefings he received in January as the virus crisis was looming up out of nowhere.
By your asking the Chinese government to be very open, yet the Prime Minister, or in fact PM and the C, are refusing to publicly release what happened here in Australia. Can you see the hypocrisy in that?
I see no hypocrisy with that whatsoever.
It is a gift to China at a time when all we want to send them is our exports. Hugh Rimmington for 10 News First.
And with little known about COVID-19, our health authorities are concerned about what impact the colder months will have on the virus. And the Chief Medical Officer's warning winter could undo our early success.
As the leaves and temperatures start to fall, health authorities are facing their next coronavirus challenge.
We don't know exactly how this virus behaves in sort of temperature and climate. We don't know what the effect of winter will have. It's one of the things we're concerned about in Australia.
Particularly as restrictions start to ease.
Is there a trigger for which restrictions will come back in?
There is no one trigger. Well, total case numbers is not necessarily a trigger. It's the capacity to control the outbreaks that's the defining thing that we're watching.
Which is why even an innocent coughing fit will see you sent straight to the doctor.
We're testing hopefully every Australian who might get a cough in the House of Representatives or any other situation.
The Treasurer was back today having tested negative to COVID-19. Global health authorities believe the worst of the pandemic is still to come, which is why Aussies won't be going on any overseas holidays anytime soon.
I cannot see border measures. They'll be one of the last things to go, international border measures.
The government is staying glass half full.
In times of adversity, Australians often shine, and I think we've absolutely seen that this year.
With the success that Australians have been able to achieve.
The JobKeeper package, according to Ashley Malcolm, has helped save their business.
But while the Parliament practices social distancing, the gloves are off. The opposition zeroing in on problems with the package and resuming attacks over the sports rort scandal.
The only authority sought from the Prime Minister's office and from myself, Mr Speaker, was in relation to announcements.
4 months on and still so many questions. Tegan George for 10 News First.
A Melbourne dad has told of his pain at not knowing what's happened to his son, who disappeared almost 2 decades ago. He says he'll never give up the search for answers or hope of being reunited.
Nick Wright says grieving someone who goes missing is a unique struggle.
You can't help it. You can't come to a point where you say, yeah, I'm okay with this, because you're not.
Paul Wright was last seen leaving his Rosanna home in 2003. He was 27 years old. Police have released a new image of what he would look like now, aged 43. He had a court case pending when he disappeared.
As I say, he was no angel, but he was not a bad person.
Paul worked in the security industry and was known to use the alias Brian Hunter. Police can't rule out foul play. They're appealing to the public for clues.
At this point in time, the file remains active, which is why we're conducting these investigations. Even 17 years on, we never stop acting on behalf of the family to try and locate Paul and give them some pieces to knowing where he is.
Police say there's no new clue or sighting that's prompted this latest plea. Rather, it's about showing that investigators and Paul's family are never going to give up on finding out what happened to him. If Paul is alive and has a new life, they still want to know if he's all right.
All I would like to know is I'm okay. That's it.
Emma O'Sullivan for 10 News First.
Well, let's get an update on our traffic conditions now with Jess Miller in the chopper.
Thanks, Jen. We've flown over to Greenvale in the Lexus of Brighton traffic chopper. There's been a police incident on Mickleham Road, closing off the northbound lane. Emergency services are obviously at the scene. This is just near Hillview Road, and delays are stretching a fair way down Mickleham Road, not quite back to the Tulla, but still pretty bad. Also an incident to watch out for in Pascoe. That's Gaffney Street at Sussex Street. Emergency services are also on the scene there. Back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Jess. Stephen's back with sport, and the Eagles may spring a surprise.
Yes, Jen, from West Coast to the Gold Coast. They could relocate to overcome their border restrictions. Also, the league ramps up its corona testing. And could this man cut Dan Ricciardo's lunch and steal the spare seat at Ferrari?
While we're all parked for a while, Lexus isn't. We're still anticipating your needs. So if your Lexus needs a service, we'll pick it up, deliver you a loan car, and return yours thoroughly cleaned inside and out.
Tensions escalate, but can we afford to lose China as a trade partner? Plus, how COVID-19 has turned delivery drivers into unsung heroes.
We're helping lower the cost of dinner with some of the key ingredients for delicious slow cooker beef with cheesy dumplings. Like Coles no added hormones gravy beef down to $15 a kilo. Save $3. Coles real beef stock 1 litre, just $1.90 every day. And salted butter 250 grams, $2.80 every day. Find this recipe and more at coles.com.au. Coles, helping you lower the cost of dinner. Good things, great value.
When life gives you, how did that get under their anus? Godfrey's gives you cleanliness. Award-winning Wurtime stick vacuum, $7.99. Hoover steam mop, $2.79. Godfrey's cleanliness.
Huddling at home? Try Domino's new Chicken Palmy on Deep Pan. With 22 succulent chicken pieces and crispy rasher bacon from just $15 delivered. Order now with total peace of mind thanks to zero contact delivery from Domino's.
Outside, it's something to look at. But inside, it's a space to be. A space we fit our lives into. A space that brings us closer. That spans generations. Where we go to let go. In a Mazda, this space is 100 years in the making. And summed up in 2 words. Zum zum.
Is frequent heartburn interrupting your life, causing you to reach for short-term relief over and over again? There is a better way. Unlike antacids that often require multiple doses per day, Nexium 24-hour provides longer-lasting protection from frequent heartburn with just 1 tablet a day. Nexium 24-hour provides round-the-clock protection. Live life less interrupted. Get Nexium 24-hour for a great price at Chemist Warehouse.
Hello Fresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned fresh ingredients. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your box today. Hello Fresh. Inspiration delivered.
Get smart about housework. Take control with the sleek, new, intelligent Dyson V11 Outsize. Boasting a 25% wider cleaner head, a 150% larger dustbin, and up to 60 minutes of fade-free power. The new V11 Outsize is now available with interchangeable batteries. It's also packed with innovative technology that automatically adjusts motor speed to suit the floor surface. And just point and shoot when you're done. Test drive the new Dyson V11 range now at Harvey Norman.
Where's the baby?
The police are looking for him.
Who stole him?
Somebody who was very lonely because they couldn't have a baby. Do you want to say hello to your little boy?
He looks like me.
My baby could be anywhere. Do something about it.
The police have made the call to release this CCTV footage to the media.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
We don't want her to panic.
The secrets she keeps tonight after MasterChef.
Where there's a will, there's a way. The Eagles and Dockers may move from the West Coast to the Goldie to help restart the AFL season. Meanwhile, the road back to training started in earnest today with hundreds of players being tested for COVID-19.
They went to Marvel Stadium club by club. Richmond and Essendon's players and staff were the first to get tested this morning.
I'm a little bit sensitive at the moment. A few tears came down. It was, oh look, it's all a positive. We're just keen to play. So whatever's going to get us back as soon as possible, we're prepared to do.
And some of them found it uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was weird. They had this big line thing, and you put it up your nose, both nostrils, and down your throat.
Very excited. Yeah, it's good to be back at the club, even though it's only for 10 minutes to get tested. But hopefully everything goes to plan, and the boys are back out there soon.
The players are willing to accept stricter quarantine guidelines to get the competition started once more.
Oh, clearly
that is the case if we want to get footy back, which I think is great for the community.
In another test for the AFL, the South Australian Premier says his health advice is to not allow clubs to fly in and out of his state.
The reality is, I don't think that we're going to be having interstate football teams coming to South Australia, certainly for the first part of this season. The infection rates in other states mean that this is a risk.
For us, it is a relatively high risk. What we will need from the AFL is details about when they're intending to start their matches, what their fixtures look like and the like.
West Coast is seriously contemplating setting up a base on the Gold Coast if, as expected, they have to move interstate until the borders reopen. They would train and host games under this scenario, neutralising the disadvantage of playing games against Victorian teams in Victoria. The Dockers are also considering a move to Queensland, with the warmer weather also an attraction. Rob Waters for 10 News First.
Gold Coast Chief Executive Mark Evans has mooted scratch matches could be on the cards to help keep listed players game ready. Evans admitted he has already discussed the prospect with the Lions.
Going into round one, we had some discussions with Brisbane around some opportunities for the players who weren't selected in the AFL team to potentially do some match simulation, and we'll take that discussion back to Brisbane in the coming days.
The Suns chief also revealed every player on the list is happy to receive the flu shot in accordance with state government requirements. On that matter, a legal battle could be on the cards for the NRL over flu vaccinations. 2 Gold Coast Titan players have until tomorrow to decide if they'll take the jab or potentially force the matter to court.
The vaccination debate has become a heavy issue for the Titans.
You've got to, take everyone as they are, and you can't treat everyone the same, and everyone isn't the same. Everyone are different people and have different beliefs.
But the clock is ticking for Bryce Cartwright and Brian Kelly. The club's imposed deadline to get inoculated lapses tomorrow. Their injured captain standing by them, even if it escalates into a legal battle.
It'd be brave of them. Not too many people are willing to fight for what they believe in, and you can't diss anyone for doing what they believe in.
But it might cost the Titans and the rest of the competition, with Queensland home games potentially shifting south to allow those without flu shots to play and avoid state government requirements.
Those players just wouldn't be able to play in Queensland. I don't know how it would work, but I don't think you would be able to take those games away from Queensland because and you don't get any home games.
They're not the only club struggling with the issue. The Raiders unsure if their unvaccinated trio should have to put the team first.
They put a lot of work in my body with beer and stuff like that, so I ain't really one of them commenting, so I'll leave it to them, mate.
And New South Wales Police have caught up with Nathan Cleary, fining him $1,000 for breaching social distancing laws 2 weeks after lying about the circumstances of a TikTok video. Meanwhile, Josh Adokar plans to fight his fines after his infamous camping trip in Taree. Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
It's starting to look like Aussie Dan Ricciardo won't be the man to replace Sebastian Vettel at Ferrari next year. Instead, Ricciardo's former Red Bull teammate Max Verstappen is tipping McLaren's Carlos Sainz to head over to the prancing horse.
Who do you think's most likely? Someone with an Italian-sounding name or someone with a Spanish name?
I think it's not going to be the Italian-sounding name.
Okay, interesting.
So let's see. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a guess, so we'll have to wait and see.
Sainz is favourite because he would be happier to play second fiddle to Charles Leclerc, who will be Ferrari's #1 driver. With Ricciardo's Renault contract running out this year, the Australian may end up at McLaren next season. And bizarre to think all this is happening, Jen, and they haven't even raced yet.
Indeed. Thank you, Stephen. Mike Larkin will be back after the break with the 7-day forecast.
It looks like a nice and easy mystery box.
There's nothing unusual.
But don't be fooled.
There will be a twist. There will be a twist.
You're joking.
No.
What the hell?
The Mystery Box Twist, tonight on 10.
Hello Fresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned, fresh ingredients. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your box today. Hello Fresh. Inspiration delivered.
The
Chemist Warehouse May Money Savers catalogue is out now with half-price big brand vitamins. Get Blackmore's Swiss, Caruso's Henry Bloom's half price. Or BioGland Nature's Own and Go Healthy, all half price. Nature's Way, Lifespace, Synovus, Nutrilife, half price. And Wagner and Microgenics, half price. Plus find more half price big brand vitamins in-store or online. So for half price vitamins, shop at Chemist Warehouse and stop paying too much.
Lendy is helping thousands of households save on average about $2,832 in interest over the next year on their home loans. That's millions in savings for Aussies when they need it most. How can Lendy help you save?
Smartly monitor and track physical distancing at work with the new i2 Safe app. With smart monitoring Bluetooth, the app tracks worker distance to ensure a safe work environment. App access available soon. Register your interest today at cloud82k.com/i2safe.
My barber was fussing with my hair, trying to hide the thinning bits, and he says to me, maybe we should shave it all off. That was my turning point.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third, or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
Yes, of course. The Crown will attend.
Oh, Rocket Man.
Who is it, honey? Everybody!
All the entertainment you love, all in one place. Yours.
OMG, what a night. I probably look like... Shut up, my skin looks amazing.
New Olay Retinol 24 Night Serum. Look how plump and bouncy. Girl, it really works.
Hi, it's Brendan Nottle from the Salvos. For 140 years, we've stood with Australians in crisis. Today, as we all rise to the challenge of this heartbreaking time, the Salvos are doing all they can to ease the pain and find a way through for the people hardest hit. You can play a powerful role. If you're able, please go to salvationarmy.org.au and give to the Red Shield Appeal now. Together, we can do this.
Up next, the cracks start to show in the government's JobKeeper policy. So will the lifeline be cut short? Could COVID-19 have an unexpected positive impact on society's overall health? And we recognise delivery drivers as tonight's unsung heroes. Project, next.
Tonight's weather report is brought to you by Red Energy, 100% Australian electricity and gas. The power to switch is in your hands.
Welcome back. Mike's back now with the weather outlook for the rest of the week.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Well, it was a soggy start to a fairly sunny afternoon. Around Melbourne, up to 2 millimetres falling in the city, but 4 millimetres falling at Coldstream. Overnight, up to 10 millimetres of rain falling on Phillip Island. Cool today, cool again tomorrow. Let's have a look at some photos that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. Have a look at this, jumping for joy. Apparently when Laurie Bodie sees autumn leaves, she loves star jumping amongst them. Her husband sent me this photo. He wants me to share her age. I won't, but there is a 6 in it. And this is lovely. Caroline Springs, very peaceful, from Maria Gruber. So 10 degrees was the overnight low in Melbourne, 15 degrees the afternoon maximum. Outside right now, it's around 12, 13 degrees, feels closer to 9. The humidity of 55% and the wind, icy south-southeasterly. Around Melbourne today, single figures at Mount D, temperature range of 7 to just 9 degrees, so 8, I guess, the average. Across our state, well, it was great to see some rain overnight, up to 15 millimetres of rain falling in the southwest. Today up to 9 millimetres in the northeast. Temperatures generally between 12 and 16, 17 degrees the state maximum. Around Australia today, in the national capital, 15 degrees. Up in Sydney, 19, Brisbane 24, and I see where the Queensland government is now bidding for Virgin Australia. Down in Hobart, a pretty chilly old day, 13 degrees and soggy. Adelaide, like Canberra, at 15. In Adelaide tomorrow, around 16 degrees, so a degree warmer. Hobart, also 16 degrees, both partly cloudy. Up in Canberra, 14 degrees. Further north to Sydney, 18, with around 15 millimetres of rain likely tomorrow. And Brisbane, again, the mid-20s. Closer to home, the day will begin foggy and frosty and rather chilly here in Victoria, particularly in the northeast and central parts of our state. Just the odd spot of rain possible in the southwest. Will remain sunny in the north, chilly out on the land, especially in the morning. For example, just 1 to 12 degrees in Ballarat. A severe frost warning, not surprising, in the northeast. The radar, you sort of have to look closely, just the odd spot of rain up in the far northeast. Around Melbourne, where 4 friends and I can now come to your place. Partly cloudy but dry for your Thursday, generally 15 degrees after lunch. And on the bays, light and variable winds to 10 knots, waves just half a metre. So for Melbourne, where you can now fish and play golf, 7 to 15 degrees and dry for your outdoor activities. Bit of morning fog, but the winds will be light. On to Friday, and it could be our coldest start to a year, or start to a day this year. 5 to 15, frost in northeastern suburbs. Possibly some fog, then fine, lovely and sunny. And for the all-important weekend, Saturday sunny and 17, and Sunday now also mostly sunny, both days dry. Next week, it warms up day by day, 17, then 18, and then 19 degrees. So that is your forecast. It is rather chilly outside tonight, but not a bad old day tomorrow. Just light winds and a top of 15 degrees. See you tomorrow night, Jen.
Thank you, Mike. And that's 10 News First for this Wednesday. I'll have updates through the evening, but for now, from the team, good night.
Tonight, Beijing suspends Aussie imports after we called for an investigation into the origins of COVID-19.